all of this I would easily recommend anytime to anyone who's looking for a different type of book. I would recommend you to read this book, if only to challenge your opinions, to challenge your thoughts about certain things. Hi everyone, this is Paul Loves to Read, and as you know, in this channel, it's all about spreading the love and joy for literature. And today, it's a special episode. This is the part 2 of our Book Lovers Day episode, and I'm going to share with you again some of the books that I really enjoyed, that I have read pre-pandemic time, so which means 2018 or earlier. Today, it's a bit strange. It's a mix, I should say. Today is a mix because the part 1 is really very specific to a specific genre. But this episode, it's a mix because I can't, it's really random. But the common thing about all the books I'm about to share with you is that they're all, for me, 5 stars, nearly 5 stars. The first book I'm going to share is called Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Nga. And you will know this. Why? Because it's now a popular TV series in Amazon. This was published in 2017. I think Reese Witherspoon, diba, she has a media production type company. I think she bought the rights to this book, and then she made a TV series out of it. I have not seen the TV series. I have read feedback about it that are not so nice. I haven't seen it, but I guarantee you the book is really good. You know what makes this book special is because it tackles very current, very real social issues and opinions about people. So it's the setting, or the story revolves around 2 sets of families that are super different from each other. These 2 polar opposite sets of families that are essentially neighbors. I think they live kind of close together. Elena Richardson is your very, upstanding, prim and proper kind of mom. And then you have Mia, who is the artist type of mom who kind of, unorganized and very free-spirited. And they're very polar opposites. And they have very opposing views. And towards the story, you will find out there will be certain events that would make them clash and would force them to confront each other's beliefs and philosophies and principles, which would affect their loved ones and their family. So it's deep, right? It's deep and wide from that perspective. And it tackles very real social issues. When you read these characters, you will recognize some of them in probably some people you already know. So that's what makes it very interesting, very memorable. And hence, not surprising, they turned it into a TV series. But again, I haven't watched the TV series. I would recommend you read the book instead. The second book I want to share with you is another award-winning book, PEN Faulkner Award, New York Times bestseller book. It's called Bel Canto by Ann Patchett. It was published in 2001. Imagine that. Published in 2001. Wow, 21 years ago. One of the most memorable books for me. This book is one of the few books that made me weep. It really made me cry, like buckets. And it's really quite something. By the way, this book has a movie. I haven't seen the movie, and again, I wouldn't know how to compare because I haven't seen the movie, but as usual, I would recommend that you read the book because it's such a different experience with the book. So this book is about it's essentially about a terrorist attack, about hostage situation or setting. What this novel will teach you or will show you is that once you get to know people beyond your preconceived notions or your judgments or biases, is that you have a lot more things in common than you think. And each one of us just wants to live a good life, a decent life, like any other person. So that's basically what what this book will make you feel. And yeah, it's a very heavy book, by the way. It's a heavy book, It's a beautiful book. It's a beautiful story. It has a lot of characters, as in a lot of characters, but it wouldn't feel confusing in any way. It just feels, everything just feels connected and exciting, but also, you know, painful. Yeah. I would recommend you to read this book, if only to challenge your opinions, to challenge your thoughts about certain things. You would definitely, the book would definitely make you think about your own opinions, about your own beliefs and your own preconceived notions and so on. You would think in a world, especially in the movies, in the TV series that we see, it's so easy, right? A villain is a villain, the hero is a hero, you know it immediately. But in this book, it's none of that. Like all of us, each one of us is a villain in our sense, is also a hero in our sense. So it's kind of, it blurs that line because there is so much nuance in each person. So that type of book, okay? So if you're in the mood for that, I would really encourage you to try this, Bel Canto by Anne Patchett. Again, published in 2001, right? Some of you watching this, the book might be even older than you. And there's a reason why such books last. I have to read it. The next book I'm going to share is called The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. This is nonfiction. It's a memoir. This was published in 2005. Another fairly old book. So pre-2018, earlier than 2018, I have to admit that I read a lot of fiction more than nonfiction. My entryway into nonfiction was memoirs. And this was one of the first nonfiction that I've read. And it's a memoir. And it really stayed with me because her story, Jeanette Wall's story, is to me, is like a movie. It's so one of a kind for me, in my perspective, from where I live. Probably where she is, it's not as unique. But for me, it's a unique story. It's a story about resilience, of redemption, of really trying to find that strength to take care of yourself and to make difficult decisions when it comes to your family. Admittedly, this book, or I should say vice versa, you would also know Tara Westover's Educated, another memoir that was a big bestseller book in 2021. Tama ba? 2020 or 2021. And to this day, it's still a really, really good book, Tara Westover's Educated. Admittedly, when I read Educated, it reminded me of Jeanette Walls because they have very similar backstory. Like, this young girl living with family, with a dysfunctional, difficult family, just wanting to live a decent, normal life, and then finally having to make the difficult decision to move on and, make a life for herself. So it's very touching. It's very memorable. I think there's a movie. They created a movie about this book. I haven't seen it myself. It's probably good. I don't know. But as usual, I would recommend that you read the book. And so if you're looking for a book that is similar to like Tara Westover's Educated, again, nonfiction, I'm almost sure that you will appreciate this as well. Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. The last book I would recommend to read, that I would share with you, is one of the most one of a kind, mind-blowing, strangest but beautiful books I have read. Right? It's called The Sparrow by Mary Doria Russell. It's a New York Times. She's a New York Times bestselling author. This book that I got is actually the 20th anniversary edition, which tells, and I read this around 2017. This was published in 1996. 1996. That was way back when. So I really enjoyed this book. And I did say it's strange, one of a kind, mind-blowing book. Genre, it's a mix, right? It has science fiction. I love science fiction. It has religion. And the mix of the two genres, or of the two disciplines religion and science fiction is just so beautiful to me. And she did this so well. So just to give you a taste, right? Just to give you a taste of the strangeness of the book. It's about a Jesuit priest. He's also a linguist, and he also leads a scientific mission entrusted to find intelligent extraterrestrial life. And he will in the book. So he's a priest, but he's also a scientist. And the setting is in a day and age where and when the church or the religion is like the pioneer, the best of the best when it comes to sciences as well. And his mission is to go out in space to search for intelligent life out there. And he will at some point. And that's when it starts, and it's just amazing. It really is. It's not for everyone, I have to say. I can imagine some people who would be offended or who could be offended by some of the ideas that she proposed in this book. Because it could be, at some level, in some scenes. But I get it. I get the concept. I get why mankind wants to search, out there, and why and how science and religion mixes. And she did it brilliantly. I don't know how else to say it, because I don't know what other novel has religion and science fiction mixed into it that doesn't clash. It's an adventure. You could view it from that angle. It's an adventure book. It's a quest type book, but also it's very philosophical. Again, I mean, probably that's not a surprise. You have religion in sci-fi, it will be philosophical, diba? And maybe that's because I loved it. I feel like you have to have an open mind to read it. That being said, it's a 20th anniversary edition, which means it's been published and republished over and over, and there's a reason for that, right? It was first published in 1996, and until now you can still see it, you still hear it. So these are the type of books that at some point you need to try to consume. But yeah, an open mind would get you far, right? Just to absorb it, no judgments, just absorb it and just appreciate it for its beauty. So this is something, if you're up to challenge yourself when it comes to genre, when it comes to genre blending, genre blurring type book, this is it. So to wrap up, again, this concludes our Book Lovers Day episode, part 2. I hope you go and check out part 1 as well. But again, today's books is a little mixed genre, right? But all of this I would easily recommend anytime to anyone who's looking for a different type of books, right? So I hope you enjoyed that and happy reading. So